Ciao friends, and welcome to Simple Italian Cooking. My name is Liz and I've got one today that I am just so excited to share with you. Not just this recipe, and we're going to get into that, but I've got a special guest who's my mother today. And so we're going to be talking about how to make Italian sausage, peppers, and onions, which is like such a classic recipe, and it's so easy. It can sound intimidating, it's totally not.
Yeah.
But honestly, the person that makes it the best in the world is my own mother. So she is going to be sharing with us how and stepping us through the whole process for how to make this recipe. So feel free to follow along in the kitchen or to just sit back and watch and absorb. So Mom, thank you so much for being here today and sharing this recipe.
Yeah, well, I'm more than happy to do that. It's really fun to be cooking with my daughter. And I've been making this recipe for a long time. And I got to tell you that whenever I make it, there's nothing left. It's just so good. And it's very simple to make, so it turns out perfect every time. So the first thing is that we need to prepare our ingredients. We need peppers, onion, and Italian sausage. That is, how much more simpler could it get? But also we need, of course, olive oil. Can't make anything Italian without olive oil. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut the peppers up. I want to cut them in strips, take out all the seeds and that like spiny thing, wash them clean, cut them in strips, and I'm just going to set them aside because we're going to put them in the frying pan with the onions.
Okay, so hang on. Let's take a step back here. In terms of the peppers,
yes.
What kind of peppers do they have to be?
Well, some people like all green peppers, but sometimes you don't have that. So I find that any kind of a pepper, like the kind you get in the grocery store, they're red, orange, and yellow in the tricolor.
The
tricolor. They're fine. They're fine. I think probably green is more traditional, but I don't always have green peppers, so use what you have.
Yeah, and I think too, like for Christmas and holidays, like the green and the red
that makes a really nice holiday statement. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're using 2 peppers. Mm-hmm. Is it just 1 large onion?
1 large onion. You want the peppers and the onions, the quantity to be equal, as close as you can get it.
Okay. Yeah, and since peppers are hollow on the inside, you're not going to get as much, so that's why it's 1 to 2.
Yeah.
All right, and then the sausage, Italian.
It's a pound here, a sausage links. Italian, now I always use mild because I don't like spicy, but if you like your things a little hot, then just buy the Italian hot sausage. It's just up to your taste.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to let you go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And you can try. So, you said just go ahead, we're going to cut it into strips, is that right?
Yeah, First, of course, you got to wash it.
Right. So, where did you learn this recipe?
Well, that's a good question. I just feel like I've always had it, but I must have learned it from my husband because, of course, he was Italian. And, I wouldn't have learned it from my side of the family because we had an Irish background, so I don't think that was on the menu. But I'm guessing probably, well, I was going to say his mom, but maybe he had a lot of sisters, and they were all very kind when I came into the family to help me learn Italian dishes. So it's just been kind of one of those passed down things, and I'm really glad they passed it down because it's just a great dish.
Yeah. So
I'm cutting these like in half, and then just kind of taking out the inside and the stalk at the top. And then I'm going to rinse them just to make sure I get all the seeds out. Okay, now I'm going to turn on my skillet. I use a cast iron skillet. I don't know why I do that, but somebody must have told me to do it in the beginning, so that's what I'm doing. But any kind of skillet works fine. Okay, so that's heating up. Going to put the olive oil in, and let me put the light on here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I think it's about 2 tablespoons, just enough to kind of coat the bottom there. 2 swoops, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I'm going to cut up the onion. And if I cry, please don't be sad. Okay.
I don't remember you cutting it like that.
Well, I may have changed, but this is how I do it now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, so, well,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is how I cut my onion now. My daughter remembers me cutting it into squares, and maybe I did, but this is how I do it now. So I just cut it into rings, and they're nice big slices here. And so we don't want them too big because people are going to be picking these up when they're serving themselves.
Yeah, it's funny how, like, as time goes by, changes to recipes occur.
Oh,
just
yeah.
As you're not even really aware of it, you just kind of do it a little different over time, and
Yeah.
sometimes it sticks. But yeah,
Exactly.
I don't remember the
Okay.
sliced onions, but
So, okay, let's see if this is hot enough. Oh, yeah, it's hot enough.
okay. So when you did the oil, you did it on about 8, so almost
Yeah,
almost a high.
Make it high and then turn it back a little bit because sometimes it can get ahead of you. So here we go with this. Oh.
Okay, and we preheated the oven to 350
Yep.
Fahrenheit.
Yes, I did. And it is ready to go now. But it'll be a while before we put stuff in the oven. Okay, now I'm going to cut the peppers in strips. And you want them to be fairly narrow, like about that. Ooh. Oh, the onions are getting to my eyes. Okay, in they go.
Now, how many will this serve, Mom?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it just kind of, I would say between 6 and 8. Like I take this a lot to a potluck that I go to in a senior group. And people at potlucks just take a little bit of everything. So I cut my sausage up in quarters, so they're going to take a quarter, so just a quarter. Whereas if I'm serving my family, they're liable to take a bigger serving spoon. So it's a little hard to tell. I hardly ever have any left over when I take it to my club.
And if you love recipes like this that are easy, taste better than eating out, and you love Italian food or Italian culture, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button if you're enjoying this video and want to see more. And also I have a link down below in the description if you want to join our newsletter, and we'll send you multiple recipes every week that are absolutely delicious.
I'm going to need something to stir this up with here. Maybe some kind of a spoon, Liz.
Uh-huh. A spoon or a spatula? We want this one?
That'll be fine. Okay. You want to stir that up while I open up the packages?
Now, if you wanted to extend this further, you could actually even like cut the peppers in half. Like
yeah,
the strips
yeah,
in half
sure.
to extend it.
But they do cook down, so it might look kind of bulky right now, but when they cook down in that olive oil, it'll look smaller.
Yeah, it smells delicious already.
Yeah. Okay, here's my package of sausage, pork sausage. Okay. Now we're not going to put those in with the peppers and sausage.
So we're not going to
with the
cook everything into here. What is the purpose of doing it in the skillet first?
I don't know what the word for it is, but it just blends them, it softens them, and it just, the flavors of the onion and the pepper blend together. But mostly you want to cook it down so it's soft. And I always put it in like a baking dish to finish up the thing. So, can you shut that off? That was for the hose outside. Okay, so here I am cutting up the sausages. I can hear it sizzling, so that's good. You don't want to burn it. And believe it or not, even though this is Italian, there's no garlic in it. But I love garlic, and garlic's really good for you too. I've tried doing this with the scissors, but honestly, I think a serrated knife is the easiest. Okay, so now we're going to wait for this to cook a little bit more.
Okay, Mom, so one thing I want to talk about is some substitutions. So if somebody wanted to modify this, suppose somebody doesn't like sausage, what are some other options that maybe they could do? Would turkey sausage taste good? You're not a turkey sausage.
I'm not a fan of turkey sausage. I mean, these sausages have flavor in them, Italian flavor. So, I don't know. I guess you could try.
What about chicken sausage?
Yeah, or maybe just hamburgers or meatballs, maybe. would be possible.
Meatballs, yeah, that would be different.
Yeah, it would be different. But I don't know what you'd substitute for the peppers or the onions
I mean,
because
it's such a basic recipe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
Now, I remember having this recipe like every Christmas, you know, so like what do you serve it with? I mean, it goes great with pasta, of course, but like specifically, like tonight we're having stuffed shells.
Yeah.
And this will go great with that, lasagna, eggplant parmesan.
Yeah, it's just a great side dish.
It really is.
I don't know if it would be a main dish because I don't think there'd be enough of it unless it was just like two of you eating a whole thing here.
What if you had it with rice? Like if you added it to
no rice. Yeah, I suppose you could put it on some kind of pasta, but it just really stands on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if you did like a side dish or some like farfalle or something like that.
Maybe.
You know,
yeah,
and
leave it up to the person. But I mean, it's just so simple that because there's just like 3 ingredients. That's it.
Yeah,
you know?
except the olive oil will be number 4.
Well, number 4, true. Yeah.
Who doesn't have olive oil? So. Now, do you think, like for people, there are some people that really don't like to fry at all, like, and they just only want to bake it. Like, what would be your recommendation?
Well, you could do that, but I think the meatballs, because I'm gonna I mean the sausage. Yeah, not meatballs, the sausage. I like to get them a little brown on the outside, and that's why I fry them gently in the pan.
There's no deep frying. There's no deep frying or anything like
No,
that.
it's just like enough on the bottom, and that's why you keep turning them so that each side gets a little brown, and then they bake the rest of the way when you put the dish in the oven. But I mean, you could.
I mean, I guess
you could try it if you really are against frying.
Just bake it.
Or just bake the whole thing. I've never tried that, but.
I mean, as long as the internal temperature is 165 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. Because with sausage, it will turn brown all the way through and it will look like it's cooked through when it's not. So you really have to use a thermometer.
Okay, I think this is probably ready.
Okay,
to go.
So you have that at like a medium high. It's really sizzling there, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so this is here.
You want me to do anything?
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have taken the peppers and onions, put them in the baking dish. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of water here in the bottom of the frying pan. Just a little bit, not too much, because this just gives the sausage a little more time to cook. And so you're going to cook it down until the water's all gone, and that's when they start to brown up. But having a little water in there, you're just cooking them a little bit more, and you really want to make sure sausage is really cooked. So in here, I'm going to turn it up a little bit to get that water sizzling, and the sausage go in.
So one thing to remember when cooking sausage is that it should be 160, a minimum, according to the FDA, 160 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to play it extra safe, go 165. So sausage will look like it's cooked when it's not. So you really got to use that meat thermometer to make sure. And I believe 160 Fahrenheit is like 71, I think 71 or something Celsius. Okay, so it looks like all the water has evaporated. It's like, man, all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah, all the water's gone, and now you just hear the little sausage pieces sizzling. When you hear them sizzling, that's a good thing.
See, this is when I tend to burn it.
Well, you really have to stand here because they can burn really quickly.
Yeah.
See, that already is a little brown on one side.
Yeah, they look good.
You don't want them black. It's just brown.
Yeah. That's my problem. I get distracted because I'm waiting, and then I come back and it's burnt. Yeah,
that's perfect.
That was like within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And you had to turn it down to like a medium.
Yeah.
Here, do you want me to get a pot holder? Here, I'll get that. Want me to get that?
Okay.
Okay.
But maybe you can push them out.
Cool.
Okay, so.
Oh, hang on a minute. I want to take a photo of it.
Okay, so now you just want to mix up peppers and sausage so everything's evenly distributed.
So this recipe, actually thinking about it as we're going through this, I mean, I remember you doing it in a 13 by 7 pan, but I mean, obviously it doesn't matter. But you could do this if you're doing like a buffet, you're doing really for a large amount. I mean, you just literally double the recipe.
Yeah.
There's no special, and in fact, you can adjust it if you want more peppers than onions, more onions than I mean, you can really just,
just make it your
it's
own.
flexible.
Yeah. Okay, now we put a lid on it, and it goes in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. So at least check it at 30 minutes and see. But
And by check it, you mean the internal
I mean,
temp?
look at it.
Okay.
Take the lid off and look at it, and
And then with the thermometer, check it.
probably. All
All
right.
right, cool.
Okay.
So now we just clean it up, right?
Yeah. That's it. Okay, so the 30-minute timer has gone off. So now we're going to test and see if it's reached the 160 minimum temperature for pork. Ooh. Hot.
Looks good.
Yep.
Okay, so we're putting it in for 15 more minutes, and we're gonna check it out. It was not at the right temperature. Ovens vary, so that's why it's so important to use that thermometer and really make sure
Yeah.
that it is that, because
Yeah.
some ovens run hotter than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You never know.
what do you think?
Yeah, I think. I mean, you can cut one of them in half if you want and see if it's pink on the inside, but I can't imagine how it would be. And you got it up to 160. Actually, it's going a little above. See?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it'll keep cooking a little bit.
Yeah, I think you got it.
All right, looks and smells delicious.
Sure does.
Okay, so we are just doing a quick taste test. We did check the thermometer, and it did register a minimum of 160.
Yep.
And
It's hot.
this is the fun part.
Well done.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Good eating tonight.
My favorite is I like the green pepper with that.
Do you?
Yeah. What's yours?
I don't really have a favorite, I don't think.
I like that. 'Cause you really get that flavor of the sausage in with the peppers. And I think a lot of that is just a combination of first cooking it together in the olive oil and then mixing it together and then baking it. So,
Yep. It's very important.
yeah.
The baking, because that's when everything comes together. And it's created a nice little juice sort of in the bottom that's just, when you serve it, it's just...
Yeah, you want to keep
it's
that
so good.
juice. And, one thing is keeping it covered, because when you keep it covered in the oven, it will help prevent the sausage from drying out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you're cooking it over the stove only and you don't want to, why would you want to do both, over the stove and baking? Well, because cooking it over stove really gets it going, starts really cooking it down, getting those flavors merged, and then when you bake it, you're covering it, it keeps it moist, and it just really traps those flavors and it cooks in its own juice. And I think you'd have a harder time doing that. Plus with the oven, you have an even cooking temperature hitting everything at once.
Yeah.
Versus if you were like just to fry it till it's done.
Yep. I think that's all good advice. That's the best way to do it.
Yep.
And the proof of the pudding is in the eating, so
Yeah.
try some, make some, and test it yourself.
That's right. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Hope you enjoyed this video. Mom, thanks so much for doing this with me.
I'm happy to do it. It's great. I hope everybody can enjoy this recipe. It's so good.
I agree. Thanks so much for watching. Grazie e ciao.
Ciao. Okay.